And welcome to an incredibly special video. As the title would suggest, this is the unveiling of the incredible McLaren Speedtail. Now, before I go on, I will say that this is a fairly lengthy video because we're going to try and go into as much detail as we can. Now, normally when I'm invited to the launch of a new car, I'm sent quite a lot of information in advance so that I can digest it and regurgitate it in as many descriptive words as I can for you guys to explain what's going on. But McLaren have done an incredible job of keeping this project very secretive, to the extent that I have learned the majority of what I'm going to tell you today. So we're going to walk through in stages the outstanding features of this car. First of all, I want to acknowledge how special this moment is to me. We're getting supercar and even hypercar launches quite regularly this day and age, but a car of such significance and magnitude, to be involved in this and be able to bring it to you guys is incredibly special. I'm just absolutely honored to be here. The first time I saw this car, I really didn't know what to say. It's rare that I'm stuck for words. I'm not sure how much the camera is doing this thing justice. The impact this has on you visually is unlike anything else I have ever seen. It's so long. It sits at 5.2 meters. There's so many intricate details, particularly in the materials that this car is made from, that later on in the video we're going to be talking to a woman called Jo Lewis, who will indulge you in details which I believe are industry firsts on a car like this. And that's ultimately what this car is all about. It's about pushing boundaries and taking things to the next level. So without further ado, let's get through to these headline details. Okay, let me just try and contextualize some of these numbers for you. So the car is pushing out just over 1,000 horsepower. It weighs 1,430 kilograms. And for reference, the Speedtail will go from 0 to 186 miles an hour in 12.8 seconds. It's very hard to contextualize numbers like that. Don't forget, this is a rear-wheel drive car. So all of that power and torque is delivered through the rear tires alone. I mean, if you split that in half and allocate the power to each rear tire, that's over 500 horsepower per driven tire, which is more than an entire Golf R on the left wheel. It's just mind-blowing stuff. Okay, so let's talk about the fundamentals of this car. Now, while McLaren are saying that this isn't a successor to the McLaren F1 in any way, I know it's hard to not draw parallels with that car, obviously because of the three-seater layout. But there are subtle hints that nod to that incredible vehicle throughout, which we'll get onto later on. But first of all, production numbers are 106. That number is relative because they only made 106 McLaren F1s. Of course, they are all sold out, and that's with a starting price of £1.75 million before taxes. Yeah. So, I mean, I know by and large, McLaren make pretty exclusive cars anyway, but they've taken this to an entirely different degree. So while McLaren is synonymous with making high-performance supercars, the bracket that this car fits into is classified as a Hyper GT, the GT standing for Grand Tourer. And while cars that have come from their Ultimate series in the past, like the P1 and the Senna, have been very performance and downforce driven, this car's aim is to push its way through the air up to 250 miles an hour, and as a result it's all about creating a ultra slippery surface. Now, playing on the Grand Tourer vibe, what that allows you to do is 3 people in this car can do 250 miles an hour with enough luggage space for all 3 of you, and that's what classifies this as a Hyper Grand Tourer. Funnily enough, this segment of the car alone is actually pretty representative of the spirit of low drag that runs through this car. So from this aero duct here, air passes by to the shrouded wheel cover here. The purpose of this is to keep air close to the wheel and channeling it down this door line. But what's really cool is that the wing mirrors here are retractable. They're out permanently upon driving mode, but when the car enters velocity mode, they actually retract back inside the car to reduce the drag even further. And just in case you're wondering how on earth you're supposed to see through those tiny wing mirrors, well, they're actually cameras housed inside that unit which relay the outside image inside the car to dedicated screens left and right of the vehicle. Okay, so onto the interior. Now let's address the obvious, the awesome central seating position. Now, I had the honor of driving across Europe in a McLaren F1 last year. And on that journey with my friend, we had a good chat as what would the modern day interpretation of a 3-seater supercar look like, and here we are, and it's absolutely incredible. What is cool is that there are still familiar design traits from the F1. I mean, this storage area here, right below the seats, that is straight out of F1 there. But the way that the seats are set back and giving such primary position to the driver, even by designing the seat differently itself to the passenger seats, just gives you such a sense of connection with the car. And you can also appreciate how much the instrument clusters wrap around you. Now, this car is actually a design prototype car, which means I can't actually sit inside it right now. But from the angles I can get, it looks like you're in some kind of fighter jet. And the sense of occasion is enhanced even further by the additional screens from the wing mirrors, which I was showing you earlier. Now, some really cool features. You might have noticed that there is no sun visors in this car. That's not to, keep it aesthetically clean or anything like that. McLaren have installed electrochromatic glass. Now that means that at the touch of a button, you can change the opacity of select areas of glass within the car. So this central area here changes to allow more light in, and the glass above your head in the doors. But what's really cool is that they've been able to remove the sun visors because they have put a strip of the electrochromatic glass across the very top of the screen, so you can activate that and block out any sunshine. It's a really cool feature. So of course, McLaren are famous for their carbon fiber work, and what these two passenger seats actually are is seat sculpture and padding that has been attached to the carbon structure of the car. So these aren't so much seats as you becoming part of the chassis. It's a very cool touch, and again, it's all about saving weight. So what may be a bit of an issue with a central driving position is opening and closing the doors because they're so far away from you. So what McLaren have engineered is automatic opening and closing of the doors on their own. That's a pretty cool feature. Okay, so I know you're all probably bashing the screen going, what type of engine is going on? What kind of hybrid system is happening? Right now, McLaren haven't told me anything about that. And to be honest, I don't mind because it gives me a great excuse to come back and spend some more time with Speedtail. Who knows, if we ask McLaren really kindly, they might let me drive it one day. But until then, we're now going to move on to a lady that knows all about the incredible levels of customization that Speedtail offers. I'd like to introduce to you guys Head of Colours and Materials for McLaren, Jo Lewis.
Hello, hi.
And she's going to run me through everything that I don't know about this car, because you've done an incredible job of keeping this thing secret.
There is so much to talk about, and I'm so excited to be able to show you today. So in terms of my job, what I do is I basically, with my team, spec every element of the car. So in terms of paint, wheel finishes, anything you touch and feel, the soft trim, the metals, the carbon fibre, everything material-wise is something that we spec, develop, define.
So how long have you been working on this for?
Over 2.5 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
So today's a really big day.
Yeah, definitely. One specific material which I would really like to talk about is carbon fibre. It's the DNA of our brand. We wanted to do something different. We wanted to give it a completely different look and feel to our other products. So we've not only changed the type of weave of the carbon fibre to make it lighter, essentially, we've also added some really interesting elements onto it, so like titanium deposition. So if we start with the engine bay, you can kind of see the process. So carbon fibre is a woven fabric. Our standard fabric is 3K, we call it. So essentially it's 3,000 strands per piece of yarn. We've developed a 1K, which is 1,000 strands per piece of yarn. So when you weave that together, you essentially get a lighter fabric. So it still does the job, but it's lightweight, and obviously over a full visual carbon fibre, you would save weight. Not only that, because it's woven in a different way, so we've used a jacquard machine. Essentially, you can integrate some really interesting features like interwoven graphics, so the customers themselves can personalise their name, a picture of their face, whatever it is they want.
Wow.
And then additionally to that, we've looked at kind of embellishing the material, because with this car, it's about being the most bespoke. It's the most beautiful, the most luxurious McLaren we've ever produced. So why not coat it in a micron thin layer of titanium?
I mean, why not?
Exactly. So this is titanium deposition. So it's essentially micron thin layer. It adds no weight to the car, really, over even a full visual carbon fibre. And because it's titanium, we can actually anodise the colour. So customers can bespoke this also to whatever colour they want.
So I guess, would that save weight in terms of more conventional tinted carbon is effectively painted, right?
Exactly. So what's great about this, and it's what I don't think anyone is really doing it in the industry, is you're essentially colouring carbon in a way that doesn't lose the clarity of the weave. So you still get the weave, the structure of the carbon fibre, but you're essentially adding colour without just applying it to the top surface. So on this car, we've only done the engine bay, we've done the rear splitter, the side skirts, sorry, the front splitter, rear diffuser, but if the customer wants, they could go full visual carbon fibre on this car as well.
Wow.
In the same process.
So just while we discuss the overall platform of the car, I'm not sure if the camera is doing the scale of this justice. It's 5.2 meters long, right?
Yeah, it's super long.
It is huge. The first time I saw it, I haven't seen a car that's had so much impact visually for a long time. Most of it is to do with its size. Interestingly, from an aero point of view, I'm used to coming here for car launches and talking about the amount of downforce it's got. And while this car has a huge amount of aero tech on it, this is designed to cut through the air. It's all about low drag, not so much downforce. And the reason this thing is so long is for that exact purpose. Could you talk us through the paint and how that incorporates into these pretty fancy active aero here?
Yeah, sure. So this is what we've called Speedtail Silver. It's essentially a liquid metal paint, essentially. So it's very, very small pigments, flakes in it. So really, you can't really see them. But essentially, it gives you that beautiful, streamlined, slippy kind of look to the vehicle, as well as the fact that it has this amazing flip-flop, what we call flip-flop. So you get this down and light. Again, because of the technology of the paint, I mean, it needs to be applied by a very highly kind of specialised painter. But it does give you that almost, it looks fast even though it's stood still. These
two areas will be active aero. Something that caught my eye straight away is that there is actually no split line as to where this joins. Run us through what's happening here, because I've never seen anything quite like it. This
is one piece of material, so there's no hinge. So the material actually moves and bends when it's functioning. Obviously, we need to make sure we have to test the paint and the carbon in order to understand that it doesn't crack the paint. You know, these do flex at a specific angle. So we've run various tests to make sure that obviously the paint survives, the carbon survives.
Flexible paint.
Exactly.
Notice on the carbon shrouding of the engine bay, it has this gradient where it goes from the light silver finish all the way up to black. So how do you achieve that?
This was about the customers being able to option up to not only visual carbon fibre, but in this case, titanium deposition. And because we didn't want to have this complete solid break from the materials meeting the next, again, about blurring the boundaries. So it's about beautiful kind of seamlessness around the material story. So where we've got this dark canopy, which comes as standard to the car, we looked at a way in which we could create a paint fade, so from black through to whatever the material is. Again, a soft, subtle movement from one material to the other. So there's no harsh breaks or break up of materials.
So, run me through this incredible space.
Great. So yeah, interior story is equally as bespoke, special, can be customised to, again, whatever the customer wants. But in terms of leather, again, being a big story for this car, we've introduced 3 new products of leather. So we've taken our best leather off Sports and Super Series, and which is called semi-aniline, and this you can see on the centre seat.
This actually feels unbelievable.
So
it's going from the way this feels to this.
Yes, so 2 very different types. So this is a technical leather, and we've not only taken a fantastic leather product, we've also made it 30% lighter. So we've created a process with our fantastic suppliers to basically aerate the substrate of the leather. So the leather doesn't change in thickness, you can still trim it, use it as any other leather, but it is 30% lighter. So a customer could spec this throughout their entire car. The other leather that you see here is a full aniline. So unlike a technical leather, which is a painted colour, this is a purely natural dyed product. So so it will wear, but we use the word patina because it will literally, like a beautiful old designer handbag, it will wear in a beautiful way. It smells amazing, and it has, and you know, we really wanted to kind of bring to the fore all these amazing like natural features of the material. So in combination, we've created some kind of an interesting kind of combo of two different types of materials. But again, the customer can do what they want. They can also colour it in any way they want. So each car will be batch dyed, so every car will have its own colour story.
Incredible.
Again, we've highlighted the centre seat. This is about driving, the driver focus, and it, you know, it's a three-seater car. It's super special, so we made the centre different colour to the rest. Not only that, you'll have a look at kind of the detail around the car. So if you look on the edges of the seats, we've incorporated a painted edge. Again, something that you would see more in kind of fashion product. Absolutely. It's not an automotive finish, but this also can be bespoke to any customer specification. So they could take a Pantone colour, we can match to their favourite coat, bag, whatever. Again, the bright work on the interior, so you see all the switchgear, even these clasps that open up for the stowage under the seats. It's all machined aluminium. Again, it can be anodized to any customer specification.
Historically, McLarens there's always been the options for customers to personalize them to a pretty high standard. I've never seen you guys do it to this level. The theme, as soon as we started talking, was you can basically, if you can dream it, we could probably do it.
Exactly. Right? I mean, every element can be bespoke, and I don't think we're going to see two of the same cars. No. There's this new material which we've introduced. It's been kind of inspired by our Richard Mille partnership. They have this product called TPT, which you may have seen on the watches, but essentially it's hundreds of layers of carbon fibre. It's then milled either from a tool or from flat, and you create this beautiful kind of water, even like veneered effect to the carbon. So it's a way of incorporating jewellery, but using our carbon, which again is part of our DNA. It's integral to what we do.
A gorgeous finish.
And you can not only do it in this is black. We've got it on the steering wheel clasp. We've also got it on the clasps, as well as up on the upper DBE. And this can be done in a black and white combination, an orange and black. So there's different colour quartz that you can integrate into the layers of carbon in order to integrate other areas of colour. So
unbelievable. Walk me through the micro perforations that you've been able to put in, because that makes for such unique lighting architecture in here, right?
Exactly. So here we really wanted to incorporate ambient lighting. It really suits this car. But again, it had to be, you know, this whole philosophy around blurring the boundaries, no kind of start and stop to the materials. How could we incorporate lighting? And a way was looking at the carbon, and we've developed this technique where it's micro perforated, so you can take a graphic. The holes are super fine, so in an off-light position it's really barely there, but obviously when it's backlit you get these cool graphics appear. So we've not only done that on the upper DBE, but on the door sills as you enter the car we've put the McLaren logo there. But that part can be bespoke.
Backlit?
It can backlit, but it also can be, you could have your name there, your signature, so that part is bespokeable as well. Everything here has a function. If we've developed it, we've not just thought about the beauty of it, it has to do something as well, which is completely what we do, and it's about our brand ethos.
So sticking on the theme of incredible levels of customization, we've discussed carbon, leather, even personalized weaves within your carbon. Never quite seen anything like the level of detail and customization you can go on your badge. Well, first of all, I've never seen a badge with a hallmark on it.
So we have our own McLaren Hallmark now. So we've developed that specifically for Speedtail. What you see here is an 18-carat solid white gold badge. It's also then interlaid with the TPT, which we saw on the interior. So like every element of this car, you can, you know, whatever you dream, you can create. So we thought, why not with the badging? You know, this being about jewellery to the car, and maybe with other kind of designs or cars we're looking at, we would never go to this level of kind of bespokeability and luxury. But for the Speedtail, it felt right that And again, a bit of a nod to the original F1 where there was use of gold in the car.
Absolutely.
This is kind of where we felt it could be quite appropriate to have a badge option around a completely solid gold badge.
And what's interesting is, even though you're not positioning this as necessarily a successor to the F1, I do enjoy the subtle nods around the car, which are clearly tipping your hat to it. You
Exactly.
know? I love the split windows here. I know we saw this in Senna, but to see it in a platform, particularly staring through that split section and seeing 3 seats, like that feeling of F1 just comes flooding back.
Yeah, this is kind of versions of, so this is all titanium which has been anodized to different colours.
So normally when you see samples like this, you would assume it's just a painted clear coat, but this is the actual anodized titanium.
Yeah, so if you look at this, and this is raw carbon, so it literally is, you know, it's more integral to the material. It literally sits on the surface, but it's such a thin layer that, again, it doesn't take away from the beauty of the weave. You know, you can still clearly see it's a carbon fibre. But obviously you're adding this layer of jewellery to the car, which is quite stunning.
It's a great comparison seeing this weave next to your
exactly.
1K weave.
Exactly.
It's
you can
such a
see
tight net, right?
Yeah, exactly. But these are pure quartz, which is treated the same way. And what they've done with what we've done with Richard Mille is interlayer the coloured quartz within the black carbon, so you can mix colours. It opens up options for the customers; they can do what they want.
Sure.
And it's going to be really exciting to see what kind of colour and design inspiration they're going to want to create. Exactly. So what's quite cool for this, for speccing sessions for Speedtail, I have a dedicated team that will also support each individual customer session.
That must be a fascinating process.
It's going to be brilliant because I mean, again, because it is so complex. There is so many options. Again, I don't know any other car company that offers this level of customization. That we need to basically capture it in a way that delivers the car. What I love about the job that I do is that this is the part the customer can really get involved in.
Yes.
They can make it completely their own, and and the day what we define, we develop, and we spend all this time creating goes into the hands of the customers, and it's up to them in terms of how they want to use it and how they want to apply it.
Well, I wouldn't know where to start, so good luck with all 160 of them.
Yeah, I know.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.